Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Wing Commander Mark Watson. We are honoured to acknowledge General Cha Lem Pon Si Sa Wat, Chief of Defence Forces of the Royal Thai Armed Forces, and Mrs. Buskan Korn Si Sa Wat, accompanied by Lieutenant General Gregory Bilton, Chief of Joint Operations, representing the Chief of Defence Force, and the accompanying delegation. We are also honoured to acknowledge Ms. Ingrid Aspey, President of the Defence Force Remuneration Tribunal, and the accompanying delegation, and Mr. Roy Stevens, President of Leidos Intelligence Group and Leidos Australia Portfolio, and Mr. Jason Albanese, Senior Vice President, Strategy and Business Development, Leidos Intelligence Group, and the accompanying delegation. We are also honoured to welcome the members of the 45th Infantry Battalion Association who are attending this evening's ceremony. The story of Lance Corporal William Grear, who served in the 45th Battalion during the First World War, will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We also acknowledge the members of the RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the ceremony broadcast across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. Australia's Federation Guard is the tri-service ceremonial unit of the Australian Defence Force. They provide a ceremonial presence at civil and military events and during visits to Australia by foreign dignitaries. The Guard will now dismount the catapult party from the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Catapult party, pay attention! Catapult party, present!
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free, with gold and soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Catapult party, shoulders up! Catapult party, orders up!
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Lance Corporal William Grear. William Grear was born in 1889 in Manchester, England, one of 8 children born to John and Alice Grear. William and his family moved to Australia following the death of his father and settled in the small town of Bowral in the Southern Highlands of New South Wales, where William began working as a farmer. When war broke out in 1914, William's younger brother James was among the first to enlist. After he was killed on Gallipoli in May 1915, William and his remaining brothers made the decision to enlist. William enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 23rd of February 1916. He was assigned to the 4th Reinforcements of the 45th Battalion and began a short period of training in Australia. Private Grear embarked for active service from Sydney on the 22nd of August 1916, travelling on board the troopship Wiltshire. Grear arrived in England in early October that year. He proceeded to camp with his new comrades to continue training. He spent the remainder of 1916 in England before joining his unit in the front lines on the 18th of January 1917. He had not been in the trenches long before his unit was drawn into the fighting around Grear in February. Previous attacks had taken place there in late 1916 in conditions believed to be the most difficult faced by the AIF. Grear's unit came under regular fire from enemy artillery and tear gas shells while attempting to hold their line. On the 21st of February, the 45th Battalion attacked the enemy's position at Stormy Trench, coming under what was described as easily the heaviest shelling which our sector was subjected to. Grear distinguished himself during the attacks by placing blankets over barbed wire to allow his comrades to move forward before joining them in the trenches. The 45th Battalion was relieved a few days later and returned to camp behind the lines, where they were involved in training and working parties. On the 15th of March 1917, Grear was taking part in live grenade practice when he was hit by shrapnel and sustained a wound to his head. He was taken to hospital at Rouen for treatment, where he remained for several weeks. During this time, he was awarded the Military Medal for his actions during the battalion's advance at Grear. Grear rejoined his unit in the front lines in April and was promoted to Lance Corporal in early June. Days after his promotion, he took part in his first major battle of the war near the town of Messines in Belgium. Australian units attacked on the 7th of June after several mines laid behind enemy lines were detonated. With the enemy's front line almost obliterated, Allied units advanced quickly, capturing the Messines-Witscheit Ridge by early evening. Grear was wounded by enemy fire while advancing on the ridge and was evacuated to England for treatment. After recovering, he spent a further period training in English camps before returning to the front in mid-September 1917. His return to the trenches was marked by his unit's next major battle near the village of Passchendaele. Despite heavy rainfall which had reduced the battlefield to a sodden quagmire, the attack went ahead at dawn on the 12th of October 1917. As Allied troops sought to make their way across no man's land, they were caught in thick mud, which made it impossible to advance. The battle raged on until the attackers were forced to withdraw at a cost of more than 4,000 Australian casualties. Grear later volunteered for stretcher-bearing duties alongside 6 other men when they came under fire from enemy lines. Corporal Murray described the scene, saying, "We were alongside the sapper lines in the afternoon, bringing in the wounded, 6 of us together. A shell burst and hit the lot of us. We laid out there till 10 o'clock in the morning on the 13th of October. Grear was hit in each thigh. We bound him up and he was conscious. We were picking up and taken to the advanced dressing station. Grear was then in a low condition and the doctor said he could not last." Grear died of his wounds the following day, on the 14th of October 1917. He was buried nearby in Lissenhoek Military Cemetery. He was 28 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Lance Corporal William Grear, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
Catapult party, shoulder, arms.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
Catapult party, present, arms. Catapult party, shoulder, arms.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget.
Catapult party, inward, turn. Catapult party, quick, march.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director and staff, Thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorials Development Project. We particularly appreciate your visit despite the challenges posed by COVID and wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.